Welcome to Best Life 30, your 30-day journey to creating the best life possible for yourself. You can just watch this video, or if you want to sign up for the entire series for free and get the companion bonus worksheets that go with this video, check the link in the description below. All right, so today is day 24, and we're going to learn how you can become a better marketer.
How, aside from making great products, how do you get people excited about Tesla? There's a lot of people I know and that I talk to who are just intrigued and interested and excited about Tesla as a company.
The thing I really focus on at Tesla is like really put all of our money into and attention into trying to make the product as compelling as possible. So, because I think that really the way to sell any product is through word of mouth. So if somebody gets the car, they really like it. And actually, the key is like to have a product that people will love. Yeah. And generally, people, if they're at a party or talking to friends or whatever, you'll talk about the things that you love. But if you just like something, it's okay. You're not going to care that much. But if you
get
love
the reactions from the highs and the lows,
yeah,
so you got to make sure people really love
it. You're gonna talk, and then that'll generate word of mouth, and that's basically how our sales have grown. Like we don't spend any money on advertising or endorsements so anyone like buys our car, they just bought it because they like the car, and it's genuine.
When you look at the big picture, there's three things an entrepreneur must learn. Number one is PR, and what you're talking about is PR. The other day, Fox News interviewed me to find out if I would endorse my friend Donald Trump for president. You know how much that's worth? They co-branded us. Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, and Trump. That's incredibly priceless. So getting PR is the number one skill. Under that is marketing. And what marketing does is like advertising. They want to set the customer up to get ready to buy. Oh yeah, I saw that Kia ad. I want to buy a Kia. I want to buy some land, I want to buy this. So the customer is now primed to buy it. That's marketing's job. Then the last thing is a sale. So if you've done a really good job on PR, then you've done a great job on marketing. The sale is like that. They walk in, they buy. But if you have no PR and you have no marketing, you have to pound, hard close. Well, Mr. Customer, today's changing business environment, you should buy my insurance and all. And people today hate sales pitches more than ever before. So the number one sales job of a true entrepreneur is to develop your ability to get PR. And I'll say it again, most entrepreneurs are not good at sales. They're horrible at marketing. They have no idea what it is. And they can't get any PR. And so they struggle. And again, sales equals income. So they crash.
This is a huge mistake that people make in marketing, that so many newsletters are me. What am I thinking? Like, come look at me. Hey, I'm at an event. Hey, buy my shit. And whenever we sit and write the newsletter, we're thinking about what is the most valuable thing because somebody has actually invited us into their inbox. And that is a critical question in marketing that most people are not asking themselves. They're spamming people and they're doing only shit that's about them. And they're not thinking about, well, why does somebody subscribe to me? And when we write that newsletter, and it's why it is so incredibly successful and why people love it, we're always thinking about, does this interest or help or entertain the person that's reading it? And anytime that it turns out to be too much of us talking about us, somebody on the team catches it, thank God. Because there's nothing more annoying than having somebody go on and on and on about all the cool shit they're doing versus thinking about what are some interesting hacks and links and cool things that we can introduce people to that might improve their work or their life.
When I started a Twitter account, I had no followers. When I started a Facebook account, no followers. I was my first follower. When I started an Instagram account, no followers. I didn't know how to post video. I didn't know how to take a selfie. I didn't know how to do any of this, but I did have a commitment to grow in my finances. And if you want to grow your finances, attention is the gateway. You want to go to heaven? Who wants to go to heaven? You got to die. Just telling you, man, you got to die to go to the heaven. And most people don't want to die. They want to go to heaven, but they don't want to die. Most people want money, but they're not willing to get the attention. They're not willing to do what it takes to get the attention, including spending money. And I would just tell you this, if you want to change your financial condition, the first thing you need to do is go out and market in the marketplace so that you can create a lead and not worry about whether there's ROI or not. It's so stupid that people are like, what's the ROI? Dude, what's the ROI if nobody knows you? Okay, what's the ROI if I don't know your name, don't know your company, don't know what you do, don't know your service, don't know your product, don't know where you're located? What is the ROI, okay? Best product does not win today. The best known product wins. So if you're taking notes, write this down. Best known product wins. It always has won. Best car doesn't win. The best automobile doesn't win. Hey, what happened to the Volvo?
Because it's a Volvo, you're safe, in full control of its power.
Oh, it's the safest car. The safest car that nobody has. Right? But it's the safest. You think Starbucks sells the best coffee? Please, it's nasty. Okay? But it's close. And I know what I'm getting when I get there. McDonald's, they don't sell the best hamburger. Close and available.
When I started my business, I'd get money and I'd save it. I'd get money and I'd save it. I'd get money and I'd save it. And I didn't spend money in marketing and branding. So when I was writing the 10X rule, I'm like, dude, why am I not bigger than I've been busting my ass, working so hard. I've been pushing and shoving. I have the best products of anybody in my space. I know I have the biggest platform of products and the best products. Why are other guys kicking my ass? Yep. And I'm like, dude, you haven't reinvested the money in marketing and branding, right? I was not spending money. I look at the mattress guy in Boston. I look at the car dealer in Boston. Herb Chambers outspends everybody.
Crushes.
The mattress guy outspends everybody. The My Pillow guy on TV. He who knows what he spends? He might spend $100 million a year in advertising to get $1 billion. And I'm like, oh my God, dumb. You didn't market and you didn't advertise. So this month we'll spend probably $1 million on advertising.
If you're a national bank, instead of spending $50 million on television commercials that nobody sees, I'd rather go give a big time production company $10 million to be the sponsor of a new show on Netflix called ATM, where the whole show transpires around ATMs, and it is literally your company, like actually, not a made up bank. The Ed Sullivan Show was funded and created by the Lincoln Town Car Company. People forget that history. Television started with brands funding it. Commercials came later. I believe now that commercials are going to be disappearing because we're watching streaming. I do believe that Netflix and Hulu and Amazon will test commercials. My intuition is if they're smart, they're going to do product integration. And I think, look, let me give you another one. I've always thought that like a big car company with like the trucks should do a show called The Tailgate, where the whole show, again, is at a tailgate. And it's your truck is the family's truck, Toyota, Ford, and like, that works.
It's interesting because watching the Masters yesterday, how mature the whole brand placement and lack of advertising becomes. It's amazing what can be done. Or
the new world we live in. On Twitter, the number one thing that people were talking about was Tiger chewing gum. And so we have a gum client. So I called them, this is Sunday now, you gotta move fast. I'm like, hey, dude, there's I don't know if you guys saw at one of the award show, the Fiji water girl, right? The woman, I think they call it, that's more away, guys, nobody watches commercials. Nobody goes through direct mail carefully. Nobody's going to page 37 of a magazine looking at the ad carefully. The world has changed, I'm sorry. Farming used to be our #1 industry. Things happen. Sears was #1. Walter Cronkite was, America's dad. Things change. I'm sorry, things change. Things have changed.
How do you apply that to business? So what you've learned in boxing, the lessons, being a champion, how?
That's interesting because you have to know in business, as in boxing, you have to know how to market yourself. Yeah. You have to know what's going to allow people to fill up the seats. Yeah. And my situation came about, I was the killer. I was the psycho tough guy. I was the anti-hero. I wasn't a good guy, I wasn't a bad guy. Just, you know what I mean, what I was.
Yeah, dangerous.
This is a dangerous sport, boxing, and it's about making as much money you can and taking the less risk as possible.
Yeah, well, what do you view yourself as?
Businessman all the way, entertainer all the way. Never think about, I'm the champ of the world, but never think about that stuff, because I won't be able to move forward.
How do you think then sports and business can be similar or related?
Sports and business are the same. It's two ways. Sports, like me, right?
Yeah.
I'm the show. Now I'm the business.
Yeah.
So that's show business.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I was just the show.
Yeah. Now you got the full story. That's it. Now you got the full story.
Yeah.
The box office success when The Shawshank Redemption came out was Dumb and Dumber.
I'm just not going to laugh.
Well, no, but that's, just the juxtaposition of box office and what's that other term? Critical. Shawshank got really good reviews, but because nobody could say Shawshank Redemption, it didn't get word of mouth. And I don't care how much you promote a film, if you don't have word of mouth, you ain't promoting it. People have to be able, now you go and say, listen, I saw this really terrific film. It was called Sham. Shimshunk. Got on the elevator in LA one day and the lady said, "Oh, I just saw you in the Hudsucker Reduction." So that was the reason it was not a box office success. No word of mouth at all.
I was a dead broke carpet cleaner, living off credit cards, working hard, struggling, doing a good job, operating with integrity, really cared, but there's no relationship between being good and getting paid. Right. And so until you actually learn how to sell what it is that you're off, whatever it is, service business, internet business, being an author, speaker, doctor, it doesn't matter. You're in the marketing business, and in the marketing business, you're in really the relationship business. Yeah. How you can either be a transaction marketer, or you can be a relationship marketer. And there's always, as you know, there's always more money in relationships. And I grew up incredibly shy, incredibly introverted, so I'm kind of like a introvert that learned how to talk to people, because if you don't, nothing happens. Right. I think marketing is the most important thing. Just like hold your breath for 3 minutes and see how well you do. Hold it for 5 minutes, hold it for 10 minutes. You can't, you'll die. Marketing is like that for business. If people's businesses are struggling, if their missions, and this is not just business entrepreneurial, this is every area of your life. If you have a partner, you did some sort of marketing. There's something you did to meet the person, position yourself. So to answer the question, selling is what you do when you're on the phone or face-to-face with somebody. Marketing is what you do to get someone on the phone or face-to-face with you so that they're properly positioned. So the word positioning is really critical. So by the time that they actually talk with you or visit your store or go to your website or see you speak, they're pre-interested, pre-motivated, pre-qualified, and predisposed to do business with you. And I've said that a million times, and I drilled that into my head. It's all about pre-interested, pre-motivated, pre-qualified, predisposed. And if people are set up that way, the whole job of selling is much easier. Frankly, if you have to rely on talking someone into something, then you just aren't doing any marketing. If you don't have enough business, you probably have plenty of time. So spend that time learning. I mean, every one of us, you included. I mean, we have had to learn this knowledge of how to do webinars or how to do videos or how to do podcasts or how to write courses and write books and sales letters and run events and whatever. We weren't just born with the knowledge. Like anything else, you have to learn it. So there's 3 ways that you can learn. You can learn through the school of hard knocks and get yourself bloodied and beaten up. You can learn through the experiences of other people. You read their books, you go to their seminars, you invest in their courses. And the most effective way to learn is you actually teach it to other people. So once you learn something, like my buddy Evan Pagan says, speed of implementation. As soon as you hear an idea, the quicker you can put it into practice, the more likely it's going to become ingrained and it's going to become a part of your behavior. And so this is a behavioral change. It's not just having knowledge. There's certain, like a strategy or a business plan or a business is a series of to-dos done in a certain order that produce a certain result. Everything in life is a strategy. If your life is working, there are certain things you do in a certain way that make it work. If your life isn't working, there are certain things you're doing that are making it not work. So as it comes to marketing, the first thing to understand is that the distinction between selling and marketing. If you think marketing is like just a brand or a logo, I would encourage you to think differently of less about the way your company looks and more about the substance of what you're doing for the client. What is the value that you're actually delivering? Even if you're selling something that isn't life-changing, you're like a comedy club. How do you tell the story about the comedy club? So the number one thing that I say to people, if you think of it this way, if you have something to sell, write a sales letter, because a great salesperson is limited by the clock. You can only talk to so many people in a given day. Where the first guy I learned marketing from was a guy named Gary Halbert, who became a dear friend of mine. He passed away, about a decade ago, but just a brilliant copywriter. And what I learned with copy are the words. Words are what sell, and your ability to can and clone yourself. So sit down and write a sales letter. If you do not have a written sales letter, handwrite it. It's not about technology. Even Steve Jobs said in 1997 at the Worldwide Developers Conference, he said, we first start with the psychology, not the technology. And that's why Apple did so well, because he really thought about the customer experience, not about the tech. And so many tech companies that swear up and down they had better stuff than Apple, it was just packaged in a way. It's elegantly packaged. And if you look at all of Steve Jobs' keynotes in the Apple stores and the Genius bars, it was all about education-based marketing. So my first thing that I used in my carpet cleaning business, I'll give you an example. Everyone in that industry, and we're still the largest training organization in the world for cleaners and restorers. Wow. I don't run much of it anymore, but I have someone that does. I still own it. We have thousands of carpet and upholstery cleaners all over the world. Now people will be like, well, that's not my business. How does that apply to me? If you have to figure out how to successfully sell something nobody wants to buy, it forces you to learn a lot about marketing. So I had, how do you position something that nobody even really wants to do? It's like they have carpet and it got dirty or a cat pissed on it or whatever. Now I have to deal with it. It's the necessary evil of owning the stuff. No one likes to, but I had to learn how to sell other than price. So one of the first things I did was education-based marketing, and I learned one of the most effective ways to sell something is to simply educate people on how to make a buying decision, because the number one question in all consumers' minds is, who can I trust? And so your job as a business owner, your job as a marketer is to establish trust and rapport.
There's sharing that can be done through social media when you actually hit a share or a retweet, but there's also, which I think is a little more familiar to this world, the word of mouth effect. And I have gotten to achieve that as well. So the kids go to school and they talk about what happened in the vlog the day before versus just sharing a funny video. It's like, it's become episodic. These kids watch me 15 minutes a day. They're a part of my life. And so they want to tell their friends about it. And when I do the crazy things like filling a first-class bathroom with my clothing line, the kids go to school, they talk about it, and then it gets occasionally typical mainstream media press as well.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
The best marketing ever.
Best marketing ever. And what's crazy is until about 6 months ago, I didn't realize that because I'm a social media guy. And then when it became like, oh snap, this is like people are talking in real life about this, that's when I think the celebrity effect sort of happens.
To me, marketing's about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us. Now, Apple, fortunately, is one of the half a dozen best brands in the whole world. Right up there with Nike, Disney, Coke, Sony. It is one of the greats of the greats, not just in this country, but all around the globe. And but even a great brand needs investment and caring if it's going to retain its relevance and vitality. And the Apple brand has clearly suffered from neglect in this area in the last few years. And we need to bring it back. The way to do that is not to talk about speeds and feeds. It's not to talk about MIPS and megahertz. It's not to talk about why we're better than Windows. The dairy industry tried for 20 years to convince you that milk was good for you. It's a lie, but they tried anyway. And the sales were going like this. And then they tried Got Milk, and the sales are going like this. Got Milk doesn't even talk about the product. Matter of fact, it focuses on the absence of the product. But the best example of all, and one of the greatest jobs of marketing the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the product. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about. Apple spends a fortune on advertising. You'd never know it. You'd never know it. So when I got here, Apple just fired their agency. We were doing a competition with 23 agencies that, 4 years from now would have picked one. And we blew that up, and we hired Chiat, the ad agency that I was fortunate enough to work with years ago. We created some award-winning work, including the commercial voted the best ad ever made in 1984 by advertising professionals. And we started working about 8 weeks ago. And the question we asked was, our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for? Where do we fit in this world? And what we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe. And we've had the opportunity to work with people like that. We've had an opportunity to work with people like you, with software developers, with customers who have done it in some big and some small ways. And we believe that in this world, people can change it for the better. And that those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do. And so what we're going to do in our first brand marketing campaign in several years is to get back to that core value. A lot of things have changed. The market's a totally different place than it was a decade ago. And Apple's totally different, and Apple's place in it is totally different. And believe me, the products and the distribution strategy and the manufacturing are totally different, and we understand that. But values and core values, those things shouldn't change. The things that Apple believed in at its core are the same things that Apple really stands for today. And so we wanted to find a way to communicate this. And what we have is something that I am very moved by. It honors those people who have changed the world. Some of them are living, some of them are not. But the ones that aren't, as you'll see, you know that if they ever used a computer, it would have been a Mac. And the theme of the campaign is think different. It's the people, honoring the people who think different and who move this world forward. And it is what we are about. It touches the soul of this company. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it, and I hope that you feel the same way about it I do. Here's to the crazy ones The misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the best Life 30 questions of the day. It's not enough to just watch a video, you have to do something about it, so pull out your worksheets and answer these questions, and if you don't have the worksheets yet, get them for free by checking the link in the description below. Here we go. Question number 1, what's your core value that you are going to market around? Number 2, where do you need to invest more in your marketing? And number 3, how will you generate word of mouth for your business? And if you're doing the Best Life 30 challenge with me, put a hashtag BestLife30 in the comments below. We want to celebrate you.
You have to pay to play.
Okay.
Right? We tell it to clients, but sometimes we don't want to do it ourselves.
So what does that mean, pay to play?
What it means is if you want to be seen by people, you have to pay someone to do so, right? If we think back to the old days, there was radio, there was television. People paid money to show it.
Yeah.
Then the internet came along and we thought, okay, well, we can create a viral video, we can blog, or we can do all this free stuff and people will just find us.
Okay.
But truthfully, if you want to save time, if you want to find the right people and you want them targeted, you have to lean on Google AdWords, right, which is pay-per-click, where you can have the different ads that you want based on different search terms.
Yeah.
People come in and they find you. You can go to Facebook, right? We're creative people. We can design banners, we can design videos, we can boost posts.
Yeah.
We go to Facebook around who we want to target, what they're interested in, and we drive traffic to the site.
Yeah.
We don't, at this point with our clients, I can't recall the last time we ran any kind of activity without the expectation that there would be some advertising budget.
Got it.
That people would put $1,000 a month or $800 a month or $5,000 a month, whatever it might be, that they would put money towards finding people who are looking for their service and dropping them there.
Right. Is it the fastest way to grow right now? The fastest way to get awareness?
Yeah.
Fastest way.
It always has been. Right. So we
It's the most expensive way, but it's the fastest way.
Well, it's expensive if you're not tracking anything.
Okay.
So I mean, that was going to be our third point.
Yeah.
But let's just move it up to number 2.
Okay. Number 2.
Right.
You got to track.
You have to track.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that people put money towards things without tracking.
Yeah.
And so, maybe like Google Analytics is pretty confusing. I find it confusing. I have someone who can help me.
Yeah.
But at the very least, you need to be able to track your goals. So set a goal. Do we want awareness?
Yeah.
Do we want people just to see it? Do we want conversion? Do we want people to actually click through and come through? Do we want a conversion on a sale? There's software for call tracking. So if you have a phone number, you can, we pay a service, I think it's $35 a month. It goes to all our numbers. So we know if this person came in through Google and called us, we can attribute that lead to that call. Right? There are all these different things available. They're not really that expensive. They're not really that complicated, but it's all with the intention of being able to get to a place where I can say, I spent $800 and I closed a $10,000 deal. Right? Or I spent $2,000 and I closed a $100,000 deal. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wasted bad leads in there, and it's like $8 here and $10 there and all this stuff. But then the client comes along, that's the client you want, you win that client, you keep them for 5 years, that client refers you to other people, and year over year, it grows your business. But people, 1, are not willing to spend money on it, and they should. And then people, 2, are not tracking as much as they can, and they're just wasting money on stuff.
If you want to join the Best Life 30 challenge, click the link right here below me. Or if you want more videos on how to be a better marketer, check out the playlist right there next to me. Continue to believe, and I'll see you soon.